Hello, my name is Griffin Kreutzberg. I'm a graduating senior here at Rollins College. I'm originally from Washington, D.C. I'm majoring in business management with a minor in communication studies. For the past 4 years, I've been able to be a work study at the Center for Leadership and Community Engagement. And thank you for coming to my RFLA presentation. Rollins College provided me the opportunity to take a wide variety of courses outside of my major. These courses help me better understand the wide arrays of topics and perspectives that are different from my own. I hope to use this liberal arts perspective and background to my advantage when I enter the professional workforce. So, how did we get here? Initially, I wanted my project to be focused on the January 6th Capitol riots. My gut reaction to that event was that I was traumatized. I originally was from Washington, D.C., and I was very upset at the circumstances that had occurred. With that being said, when I started researching this actual topic, I soon realized that it had been too recent and that I would not find significant evidence towards that topic. With that being said, I was able to refine that idea and turn it into something productive. My project choice started very broad, but what I was able to do with the help of research was refine what my idea for what I wanted to discover was. And what I discovered is that the disenfranchisement of people of color is intrinsically rooted within our country's policy and legislation that have been passed in our country's history. So moving on to what I found. So as I said before, I started with the Capitol riots, and as I quickly realized, the research for this was just, it wasn't significant. So what I quickly shifted to was searching for keywords such as legislation or policy and oppression. And what I was able to discover was the long history of the United States impacting people of color and seriously hurting them from generational success. Moving on to the actual research that I conducted, I initially started talking about the Capitol riots, and many people viewed the Capitol riots as a singular event. However, through my research, I've recognized that this event is deeply rooted within our country's systematically racist legislation and policymaking. Government action was responsible for creating a precedent of privilege for some and disenfranchisement for others. While there are numerous examples of government action that was rooted in inequality, one example that I dove into was the creation of the Federal Housing Administration in 1934 and the policies and legislations that soon followed. These policies culminated generational gaps in opportunity and housing equality. One example of this is in Missouri, specifically in the counties of St. Louis County and St. Louis. It was found that those living in St. Louis County secured 5 times as many FHA mortgages as those living in the mixed city of St. Louis. Home buyers in the county of St. Louis County received 6 times as much loan money and enjoyed per capita mortgage spending 6.3 times greater than any of those in the city. This is just a prime example of just how deeply entrenched racism is within the United States. For example, we can see how the events going on today are impacted by those past decisions. To see the Capitol riots is an event basically to recognize that the historical government actions have privileged those before all. I now see, in order to fully understand the depth of the Capitol riots, that we must enter conversation over the general inequalities that government legislation has created and the societal conditions of inequality and privilege that we see in present day America. We come to our next point on ethical dilemma. An ethical dilemma is considered something that can hurt, deceive, or is unfair to an individual. In this circumstance, I believe this issue is an ethical dilemma. We have seen the impact on people and the hurt that it's caused in securing even a home. On top of that, it's deceitful. This legislation and policy, they don't realize what's going on, and all of a sudden it impacts their lives. And truly, it's unfair because it's adding privilege to one and not to all. We come into our final ethical analysis of this issue, asking the question, is it okay? And to be completely frank, it's not okay. These actions and the legislation held by branches of the government created a just generational discrepancy within the community of people of color. We can see the impacts that were made in 1940 and 1950s still having hold on our communities today. With that said, the idea of utilitarianism is benefiting the majority, and I can gladly say that this idea is not benefiting the majority. If we look at Kantianism, which is about duty, respect, and universality, duty and respect are not in this idea. We are not holding these people as our own, as Americans, and it's quite frankly disrespectful. So, my biggest takeaway from this course as well as project is how connected these policies and legislations have on our lives today. We live in a very heated political environment in this current moment, but we can see why people of color are upset and why they're frustrated, and it's because of generational impacts that have been placed on these people, not by us necessarily, but by those who were in power before. So what now? As I've come to the end of my project, I've realized a lot about myself. I came to this course fairly ignorant. Wasn't really aware of a lot of the readings that we got involved in or the topics that we discussed. But with that being said, I'm delighted to say that I think I've opened my eyes up a little bit. I want to take this newfound knowledge and apply it to my daily life. I will be returning to DC, so obviously I'll be in a political environment, but I want to see change, and so I want to become involved and learn more so that I can better assist those who have been oppressed against.